the AI revolution that firearm instructors and shooting ranges and gun stores and anybody in the firearm industry can use to their benefit. And so I want to kind of talk about the common pitfalls, the common problems that we have with AI, a lot of the problems that we're seeing, and then some of the solutions to make you better. But the theme of today is that like everybody out there has access to these tools, right? And so if you're not using these tools, look, I totally get it. There's a lot of us that just don't want to use AI just on principle. I get it. Skynet's bad. I've seen the movie iRobot. It can be devastating. However, right now today, you're not just competing with all the other firearm instructors, gun businesses, gun stores, gun manufacturers out there. You're competing with them and all the stuff that they're using AI to do. And so in order for you to be competitive in today's market, you need to increase your outputs. You need to increase the productivity that you've got. And so in order to increase that productivity, you have to be using AI. And so, you know, the hook here, you already know this, is that most AI content that we generate, it feels fake. It feels scripted. It feels, you know, this is why, I used to be a big fan of using emojis and emails and things like that. And I would go find the right emoji and I would put it in at the right time. And I would, and now I barely even use emojis because I don't want people to assume that I'm using ChatGPT to create my content, right? And so I even if I'm handwriting a piece of content where I normally would have used an emoji, I avoid that now like the plague because I don't want people to think that I'm using AI when I'm generating my content, because people are getting better and better at spotting the AI writing in general in your ads and your emails and your captions and your follow-ups. In fact, one of my favorite people that I follow on YouTube is Colion Noir. I mean, we all know this guy. He's a famous lawyer. And every time I watch him now, all I can hear is ChatGPT, because he literally is just taking ChatGPT's prompts and putting it on the screen with zero change up, with zero custom writing. And I can hear it. And I have since unsubscribed to his channel, because if I want ChatGPT content, I'm going to go to ChatGPT. And that's how everybody in this country, everybody on the planet is starting to feel, is that if we want ChatGPT content, we're going to go to ChatGPT and get it, right? Why would we watch a 10-minute YouTube video when we can just go to ChatGPT and fill ourselves in a second and a half, right? So the second that your content feels generic, the trust in you and your content drops. They scroll, they ignore it, they move forward, they're done with it, right? And so when your trust drops, the response to your advertising, the response to your marketing is going to fall through the floor also. And if you just copy and paste from AI, it's going to cost you money, because if you're copying and pasting just what AI spits out, people are asking themselves, why would I want that from you when I can just go get it myself, right? And so the idea in today's world, right? So no matter how great AI gets, no matter how big and powerful it gets, I'll be the first person when Elon Musk releases what's his new robot called? Optimus. When Elon Musk releases this Optimus robot, I will be the first person that has one, right? He's going to do my dishes, and he's going to move my cameras around. I mean, it's going to be great. But no matter how good AI gets, right now, and maybe in the future it'll be able to, but right now the idea is still the alpha, and AI cannot create that idea for you. That still has to come from you, the human. So AI is more of a remixer, right? It's going to grab things from all over the place, and it's going to bring it in, and it's going to create a remixed package for you. It's not creating original ideas. And so it takes your language patterns that you write, your sentence structure, your format, and it replicates it. And if it doesn't get it from you, it's going to source that from the internet, which oftentimes can be super low quality. And the essence, the good stuff that it needs, it still comes from you. And so a beginner who churns out AI content is still not going to win in today's world, because they have no new ideas, they have no experience, they haven't done anything proven. AI can't live your life for you. It can't have the experience that you generated for you. You have to do the work and then take what you did and talk about it through AI, right? You need to take what you've done and talk about it through AI. AI is just going to let you talk faster to more people, right? That's what AI is going to do, is it's going to make you faster and more efficient at producing the content. So your idea is still the alpha. You're rewarded for the work that you've already done, for the experiences that you've already had. And if your classes are bangers right now, they're growing amazing, it's because you've taught a lot of banger classes, right? Your first classes weren't that great. I remember my first class. In fact, I just got off the phone yesterday with my very first student, and I taught him in my mobile home on my farm, and I literally had pots and pans collecting water from the roof, right? As it was coming in. And, eventually my classes became bangers because I gave a lot of classes. If your emails are working and you're sending out emails and they're working, it's because you've written a lot of bad emails to make you good, right? That history, all of that history is your gold mine, and we're going to see how to use that in a further slide here. But the trust crisis is this: people are rejecting AI content, period. So when I see an ad on Facebook and it's like a humanoid, talking or speaking, I'm out. I scroll right by it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. In fact, write in the chat if you can tell, answer in this chat, yes or no. If you can tell that it's AI content in a Facebook ad, do you scroll by? Yes, you scroll by. No, you don't really care, or you don't really notice. I want to know in the chat because I kind of want to keep my finger on the pulse of this. But AI sounds like a melting pot of the internet. It's bland, it's generic, it's soulless, right? And so as you're asking a prompt, if you get a one-word prompt, which I have done on Zoom with you guys 1,000 times, and it is my mistake, but it's just going and sourcing the answer for you throughout the internet. And it's just pulling in all the garbage that may not even matter throughout the internet for you. And it becomes soulless. It doesn't know your mission. It doesn't know your students. It doesn't know your range. It doesn't know your location, right? Generic AI content destroys your trust, and trust is everything. And the more that AI dominates our lives, the more that people are going to want to separate. You've got all the people that want to go to cheap, fast, and easy that are going to be going to the AI content. And then you've got people that want premium, that want the human experience. They're going to be going to the human experience, and they're going to pay a premium for it. And the businesses that are in the middle that don't do AI or only do AI or anything like that, like those are going to be the businesses that struggle to compete. My business is going to go further and further towards the human element, right? I'm never going to replace Jim with an AI. I'm never going to replace Josh with an AI, because the human element, I'm never going to replace Toby or Martin, because the human element is what matters. And it's the game that I'm playing, is that if you guys could have ChatGPT to give you the right solutions to what your business needs to do, you guys wouldn't even need this program, right? And so AI, I don't think will ever replace the human thought process that you're involved in today in this program. I just don't think it's going to replace it. Our AI can only be as good as what we feed it, okay? And so let's talk about how we're going to feed it. The golden rule of AI is that AI does not invent your voice for you. It takes an existing voice and makes it faster, bigger, louder. It mirrors what you give it. So if you give it nothing, it goes to the internet, it pulls in all sorts of junk, but if you give it your content, all of your content, it gives you at scale. It becomes another version of you at scale. But garbage in, garbage out. Gold in, gold out. And we're going to talk a little bit about, again, in a couple of other slides, what that means of how we're going to program it to duplicate you. So I want you to outsource the typing, not the thinking. And what I mean by that is AI is not going to replace your judgment or your leadership or your experience. The idea is still the alpha. It's still the king of what your business is around. It's your mission, your story. All of that is still king, and that will remain forever. That AI is never going to replace that. Your transformation and what you're going to give to your students is what's going to sell. And the good news is about firearm training, it's like changing oil, right? You're never going to have AI. Oh, maybe you could have AI change your oil. I just thought maybe you can have robots do that. But you're not going to have robots train firearm training, right? And so I think that firearm training is, in a large way, AI proof. We're not going to lose our jobs over AI in the firearm world, right? So AI's job is to take what's already in your head or already in your experience and get it out faster. And your job is to decide what matters. What parts are you going to feed it so that it can do its job? So that said, I want you starting today, I want you to record everything, right? And this just came out with a conversation that I had with Josh on Monday morning, and I think that I messaged everybody in the group. Josh had a class recently. And the class he had, I think he didn't have anybody sign up for his invitation. And so I said, well, great. Did you get game tape for that? Let's review that game tape, right? And the answer to that was no, unfortunately, there was no recording to record. And so because there was no game tape, we can't really indicate. All we can do is guess what actually happened. We can't say this is what the problem was. So I want you to record every single class, but it's way more than that. Your new standard operating procedure is hit record every single time you teach, so that every class recording becomes a data source that we can feed the AI. And you know, these are the little things that you don't even know that you're talking about. You would never remember after Saturday's class to say, you know, I had a conversation with Susie, and Susie was asking about the lawful self-defense, and I gave Susie this answer, so I need to go to ChatGPT and type that answer and explain it. That's never going to happen. But if you record that class, the AI can pull that snippet out, and that snippet can become a video, a lead magnet, a tool, a website. It can become anything you want it to be. But if you don't record and don't feed it, you're not going to have that breakthrough moment. And so you want to be recording on the range, right? I've got those Meta glasses. They're awesome. They only record for 3 minutes, but I just sit there and just keep recording, just keep recording, just keep recording, right? Those recordings are your gold mine. It's your AI's training data. Not only that, but then you can take it and feed it into a different AI, which is going to create reels for you, which we're going to talk about later on today as well. And then you can repurpose that content. So feed it. It's hungry. You need to feed it everything. You need to feed your GPT, your AI, transcripts of every class you teach, transcripts of every student conversation. I don't care if they call you on the phone, start recording. Every email that you've sent to your email to your entire list, record it, put it into the AI. Your best performing social posts, your student reviews and testimonials, feed the AI with this. Your website copy, feed the AI with this, right? Any video or podcast or transcript or conversation that you've had, feed the AI with it. The longer that you've been in business, the richer your gold mine is. So recently I have developed a process with me where I record all of my coaching calls. So I was able to feed my AI with 400 coaching calls. And all of the advice that I've given every person in this room over the last 6 years, I was able to put into one GPT session. And that is probably the most powerful tool that I use today, because it's every piece of advice I've ever said to anybody in the calls. And so what I've developed for myself, and this is something that I recommend you to do as well, okay, is I've got 3 folders on my computer. One folder is all about my business context, and I have it in various different ways. They're all titled something differently, so that I can use my business context when I feed my prompt in, right? So not only am I giving it a prompt, but I'm feeding in business context. So I'm not relying on ChatGPT to remember things about me, because it does have a good memory and that's really great, but I'm actually feeding it the same business context over and over and over, which I've developed so that it knows everything that I need it to know about my business. And I've got different models for that, right? And so this business context is who you are, what you do, who you serve, what you stand for, what your core mission is, right? That's your business context. And every time you go to create a new landing page on your website or email to your students or whatever, what I want you to do is I want you to open that folder, bring in that document, which is your full business context from start to finish. And that is part of what it understands when it's creating your content, when it's answering your question. And then a folder 2 is your SOP prompts, standard operating procedure prompts, right? These are instructions that you give AI for repeated tasks. I have a ton of repeated tasks that I do in my business all the time, and I have some standing workflow documents that explain this is what the task is, and these documents have become like miles long. I mean, we're talking like 30, 40 pages. That prompt alone is 30 or 40 pages, just the prompt. All the rules about the feedback and all the rules that I want, and I've created that document over time. And so now, instead of just typing it and hoping that I'm going to get a good outcome every time, when I want to create a blog post or when I want to create, I give it my business context, then I give it my SOP prompt, That's 2 documents that I upload, and then I give it my actual request. And because I gave it those 2 documents, my request is much faster and much easier to reproduce, and the quality of that content is standardized. And then the folder 3, which is the newest folder that I've just created, are all of my data sources. These are all the transcripts of all my recordings, plus I've connected it to my Gmail, I've connected it to Slack, every message that I've written to you guys on Slack, and all the advice that I've given you on solving problems on Slack, it's on the same data source. And that data source is now the gold mine of what I'm creating. And here's a little hint. I hope to go over this with you guys next week. I can't show you what the front of this is, but this document right here is going to be life-changing. And I could not have created this without Jim and Josh, Martin, Toby, and all of you guys over the last 6 years creating the content that's in here. I can't even believe how amazing this is. And I can't even share it with you yet because I have to do it in the right way. And so hopefully that'll be next week. But that has become just a gold mine. And so the 3-folder system, I think, is absolutely imperative. Now, more about business context, okay? What I want you to do today, and take a picture of this, bust out your phone, take a screenshot. Don't wait until this gets in the vault, right? Take a picture of this. I want you to write down your business context. This business context document I want you to create today, and this is going to be in your business context folder, and this is going to be who you are, what do you do, who do you serve, what problems do you solve, what do you sell, what makes you different, what do we believe inherently about our product, service, or mission, what tone should our marketing have, what should our AI never sound like, what documents, recordings, and assets should AI learn from first. If you have an answer to that, I want you to take a picture of this and write this. And I don't want you to use an AI to answer these questions. I want this to come straight from the heart. And for question number 1, who are we? I just want you to answer, like, not just your business name, but like, who are we? Like, let's use Shooter Ready, right? Sarah and Jeanette, very passionate about what they do. They're past Christian, Mississippi. They've got an excellent facility with a TI training simulator, and they would love to serve women, but they're open to everybody, right? Like, when you answer the question, who are we? I want you to sit down and type for 10 minutes. And don't use AI, just type for 10 minutes. What do we do? Sit down and type for 10 minutes. Type until you can't type anymore. And that's going to be the first outline of your business context that you feed your GPT. So then you're going to save that document, and every time you go and create a new request to your GPT, you're going to upload this document, and that's going to be your foundation, right? That's going to give you qualitatively better results than anything else you could possibly do. So prompts are your SOPs. Again, your standard operating procedure. In other words, your prompt is your AI's SOP for it, right? So just like standard operating procedures, right? Josh, in his business right now, he owns a shooting range in Urbana, Illinois. And he's working on SOPs right now. So he's working on outlining all of the responsibilities that every employee has at all times. At the end of it, he's going to have a very thick document, probably thicker than this one here. And it's going to have all of the different things that all of the employees do so that they can stay standard and stay mechanized. This is part of a process that I like to call the E-Myth. If you guys have not read the book, The E-Myth, or the E-Myth Revisited, highly recommend. Basically, the idea is the more you outline your job for an SOP, the easier it is for your business to run, because your business is all about systems. And if you don't have the systems written down, you can't maintain standards, right? That's the idea. And so your prompt is your SOP to your AI. And you need to look at your AI as your employee. And if they don't know what to do, if they don't have this SOP written out step by step, they're going to return garbage every time. And I have seen a lot of us on Zoom where I jump in and I look at your landing page, and your landing page is just, it's never going to work because it just sounds too much like AI. And so the more detailed prompts you have, specific, on brand, ready to use outputs, you're going to get faster, right? Everything that we do in this group is about how fast can we achieve results. That's why you're in this group. Inherently is because you want to make more money faster by changing the world. That's why you're here. And in order to do that, we need to spend less time building and prompting and more time getting the outputs that we want the first time. And so if you wouldn't give a 1-sentence SOP to an employee, don't give a 1-sentence SOP to AI. And I've done that a lot with you guys on Zoom. I've been on Zoom a lot with you, and I'm like, we've got 30 minutes to crush it. And so we go over to your ChatGPT, and I prompt it, and I'm like, write me an email That's not what I should have done. I should have explained how to write a real prompt and not just rushing through because we had 30 minutes on a call, right? And so a bad prompt is like what I was doing with you on Zoom. Write me an email about my concealed carry class, right? Write me a follow-up email about this, right? You're never going to hand a new employee a one-sentence SOP and expect a great result, right? So if Josh's, idea of SOPs with his group in Urbana is, okay, go ahead. Okay, Eric, now go write an email about your concealed carry class. And what Josh wanted was a confirmation email with the date, location, time, address of class. And this guy came back with an answer on the top 7 reasons that you should take a concealed carry class. That's not an effective use of time. And so we don't want to give a bad prompt because it's your time that's being wasted, right? And so what I want you guys to do is I want you to tell the AI who it is. Who is the AI, right? You're an email marketing expert talking to first-time shooters who have just registered for a class. The goal is to make sure that people show up 30 minutes in advance. I want you to use a friendly, upbeat, interesting, and maybe even humorous tone. And I want you to use this business context sheet that I've uploaded to get some data and stay in that format. And the format that I want you to output that in is in a canvas so I can copy and paste, right? You want to answer who it is, who it's talking to, what the goal is, what tone to use, what data to reference, and what format to deliver that output in. This is going to bring your level up. And it's really counterintuitive to think about, but when you write ChatGPT or any AI a short prompt, you're going to get a long answer because it doesn't know exactly what you want. And so it's going to give you all the answers, right? It's going to give you all the things it can give. And that's going to waste your time because you've got to weed through it. But when you give it a long prompt, you get a short, concise answer, right? Because a short prompt, you're going to get this long, rambling, the AI doesn't know what you want, so it brings you everything in hopes that one of the things that it gives you is the answer. And then the quality is going to be poor as well. But the more detailed it is, the shorter, more specific, usable answer you're going to get. The more context you give, the more it narrows the output to exactly what you need. And so I want you to think of it this way, right? If you ask, what is the meaning of life, right? It is a short question with an infinite amount of answers. Giving it a different prompt like, hey, given this specific person, in this specific situation, in this goal, what should that person do? It's an entirely different answer, right? It's going to be a one-sentence, short, concise answer. Now, another thing that I've noticed when we're building landing pages based on AI output, and even with the H30K AI output, is that AI tries to be cute. I don't want it to be cute. I want it to be clear. And I've seen this with a number of us where we've got flyers and headlines and everything like that. I want your headline to answer like, where is it that we're going? And how much is it going to cost? I want it to answer a question, right? And oftentimes the headlines are just not clear enough. And so when landing pages aren't working, that's the first place I look is a headline. And the headline needs to be clear, not cute. And so what this looks like in the real world, right? So what I want you to do is on a Monday, as an example, upload last weekend's class transcripts to your AI. On Tuesday, use your email prompt SOP. This is a prompt that you've created in a separate document, and you upload your business context and your email prompt so that you can write your newsletter better and better every week to write your weekly student email in your voice, right? Wednesday, use your Facebook ad prompt SOP to write a new ad using your best student testimonial as the data. Thursday, use your follow-up prompt SOP to write a re-engagement sequence for older people who haven't come back, your cold leads. Friday, review, edit, and schedule your next class, right? So I really want you to start recording and optimizing everything for the GPT. And the tools that I use, because I know everybody's going to ask tools. Submagic.io we use every single day. What this does is it allows us to, it does two major things. Number one is when I have an ad ready for Facebook that I've made via video, I upload it, or I have my team upload it, Nobi or Martin or whoever, upload it to submagic.io, and it's going to add captions that help keep attention span. The second thing that I do with submagic.io is I take the videos of like things like this, like today's content, and I upload it to Submagic. and it slices it up into short reels for me. And then Martin goes in there and he edits those reels every week and he publishes those to social media. And so I can create short snippets of content. I'm repurposing content, right? And then ChatGPT, you guys know I use that. I've been using Manus lately, which is an agentic AI, which we're going to talk about in a second. And Claude and I broke up because it was too buggy for me. I will go back to Claude at some point because I do believe that they're on the leading edge. But I canceled my subscription to Claude because I was literally getting error after error. It wasn't that it was messing up on responses. It was that it couldn't even get to this point where I could write a question. It just was buggy. The jury is still out on two tools that I'm using, Omneki and Creatify. I have tried to use them to create AI ads. The jury is still out on whether my ads that are AI are going to be profitable or not. I still believe the human element is going to be necessary, but I'm testing those. So agentic AI. Okay, you guys hear this term agentic, and until Jim explained it to me just last week or the week after, I didn't know what this was. Agentic AI means agent. All it is like, instead of it just answering in text, it's going to do things for you. So it's AI that doesn't just like answer you like ChatGPT does. It takes action and does things. So here's an example. When I'm doing my videos on Facebook, one of the things that I do is I use a teleprompter. It makes me faster and more efficient. And so on an Android phone, your teleprompter, if you use the teleprompter, it has a built-in camera app in the teleprompter. And so you don't get to use any of the cool features on the phone. So the Galaxy S26 Ultra, which is what this is, has some amazing features, but only if you use their native camera app. So the problem is, if I'm using a teleprompter to be more efficient, my video looks like crud. And so I needed to find an I needed to find an app that allowed me to have an app and have a teleprompter to use with my native camera. And I searched them all. It took me like 4 hours the other day. I used every single one. I signed up and paid for like 12 of them. And I found out that nothing exists to use my native camera. And so I went to Manus and I said, this is what I need, build it. And it's in the process of building me an app as we speak to solve that problem. And so that's what agentic means, is that it does things for you, like the ability to build that. Another thing that I did is when I sell things all day, every day, I sell things in PayPal and I sell things in Stripe. And I don't have any way to see my daily income of both PayPal and Stripe. And so I had it build a dashboard that brings in both PayPal and Stripe, so I can see my dashboard. I can see my average order value. I can see how many new customers have bought my book, where in the country they bought my book, like a great little dashboard, right? And I didn't have that before. That's agentic AI because it did things for me rather than just answer questions. And so you give it a goal and it breaks that goal down into steps and it executes those steps and delivers a result. You're no longer the operator. You're just the commander. And so if you think about how powerful that can be, is at any given time at this point, I have Manus doing things for me all day, every day, right? I am having it build things for me rather than just give an answer. Here's something else that is built. So right now in your Momentum HQ, you're going to see a new tab on the left-hand side, and that tab says Ask Andy. And that is the most powerful resource that you have right now inside of Momentum HQ, because that's built with the 400 transcripts of all of my coaching calls. So if you run across a question in Momentum HQ, you can use the Ask Andy feature. You can upload images, you can upload files, use that Ask Andy feature. And it's like looking through all of my 400 calls that I've coached, over the last 6 years, and it's using that as a resource to answer your question. So what agentic AI can do for your range or school, it can analyze your last 20 student reviews and write a new testimonial-based ad campaign. It can create the images for that ad campaign. It can review your class schedule and automatically draft a follow-up sequence for no-shows. It can take a 60-minute class recording and produce a social media content calendar for the month based on content that it created for you. It can research competitor ranges in your area and draft a positioning strategy. It's not a chatbot. It's a team member that works, doesn't complain, never has an attitude, and is always teachable. So you can use agentic AI to create lead magnets, right? So here's an example, is have it research, have it go to Reddit and see what people are talking about as new shooters. Find common fears, questions, objections, identify the best angle for a lead magnet, create the title, promise, outline, write a draft of it, refine to match your voice, and then turn it into emails, ads, landing page copy, and follow-up emails as well, right? So now it gets really powerful because we can create what's called a prompt chain. So a prompt chain is when the output of one prompt is the input of the next. So here's an example. Hey, ChatGPT, take the last 10 student conversations and build a frequently asked questions page. Then you take that FAQ page and you create it into a lead magnet, something that they can download in exchange for their contact information on Facebook. Then we can take that lead magnet and write the follow-up email sequence to get them to actually sign up for a class. Then we can take that follow-up email sequence and write a video sales letter script that'll even further convert your people into your classes, right? So you're going to take your lead magnet, right? If you've got a lead magnet, and all of us do, if you're in the premium coaching program, you've got the 7-day email series built out for you. If you're in the group coaching, you've got the 7-day email series template. And what you can do with that is take that, feed it into the AI and say, build me a complete follow-up sequence after that, after those 7 days of email and text that converts readers into book classes. And it's going to read that data and extract the messaging and build the sequence around it. And your lead magnet and your follow-up should speak the same language. It's that word congruency that I love. So your action plan, if you choose to accept it. All right, I know we've gone through a lot, but number one is I want you to choose one tool. I don't want you to run to Manus right away. I want you to choose one tool, commit to it, okay? Manus has a lot of limitations. It's highly technical and it is time consuming to learn. And you have to feed every conversation. It has no memory between conversations like ChatGPT does. So I don't want you to just run to Manus. I want you to choose one tool and commit to it and get great with it. And I want you to create your 3 folders, your business context, your SOP prompts, and your data sources. I want you to write your business context document today. I want you to record your next class, every phone call, then get the transcript and upload it. And I want you to write your first SOP prompt for your most repeated task, your task that you're doing every single week like clockwork. And then I want you to run it, review the output, make changes, and improve. And the promise is that although AI is getting scary in some aspects and it is getting growing fast, the promise is if you stay on top of this AI situation, your business will be qualitatively better because you will be more productive. And that's what it's about. It's not about creating ideas. It's about taking the ideas that you have and making them more productive.